A new Unit 7, Kings and Queens. So our first lesson, Lesson 1, what are kings and queens? Our learning targets for this lesson will be, I can describe the characteristics of a royal family and or what they do, and I can retell key details in different stories. So we're going to begin this lesson with watching a video that is entitled, What is an Absolute Monarchy?
Welcome to the Investor Trading Academy, talking glossary and financial terms and events. Our word of the day is absolute monarchy. A government where a monarch, a king, queen or emperor holds total power and can make laws without having to consult a parliament or the people. Absolute monarchy or despotic monarchy is a monarchical form of government in which the monarch has absolute power among his or her people. An absolute monarch wields unrestricted political power over the sovereign state and its people. Absolute monarchies are often hereditary, but other means of transmission of power are attested. Absolute monarchy differs from constitutional monarchy, in which a monarch's authority in a constitutional monarchy is legally bound or restricted by a constitution. In theory, the absolute monarch exercises total power over the land, yet in practice the monarchy is counterbalanced by political groups from among the social classes, such as aristocracy, clergy, and middle and lower classes. Some monarchies have weak or symbolic legislatures and other governmental bodies that the monarch can alter or dissolve at will. Countries where the monarch still maintains absolute power are Brunei, Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Swaziland, the Emirates comprising the United Arab Emirates, and Vatican City.
Okay, our vocabulary for this lesson, our first vocabulary word is kingdom. Everyone say kingdom. Good job. A kingdom is an area ruled or governed by a king or queen. So that is the kingdom. So an example would be King Eduardo ruled his kingdom with kindness and fairness. All right, the next vocabulary word is royal. Everybody say royal. Royal is anything belonging to a king or queen or other members of their family, such as prince and princesses. An example would be the throne is a royal throne because it belongs to the queen. Okay, our next vocabulary word is rules. Everyone say rules. Rules are leads and makes decisions. So, for example, a queen rules a kingdom. And just like in school, we have classroom rules, we have school rules. So, you're going to see rules all your life. All right, the next word is servants. Everyone say servants. Good job. Servants are men or women who are hired and paid to take care of the king and queen, as well as their home and land. An example would be kings and queens often had servants who worked for them their entire lives. Okay, just like the teacher is the leader of the classroom and the president is the leader of the country, the United States, some countries in the world have leaders called kings and queens. Kings and queens are different leaders from teachers or presidents because they are born into special families called royal families. A king is a man from a royal family who is the leader of a country, while a queen is a woman from a royal family who is the leader of a country. Their children are called princes and princesses, and they will one day grow up to become kings and queens. Kings and queens and their royal families live quite differently than other people do. So, where are we? This is the United States. This is where we live. And the kings and queens live over here in the United Kingdom, England. And all of these places right here have kings and queens, but we're right here. So, they're very, very far away. All right, you're going to hear a read aloud about different European kings and queens from long ago, long ago, and the places where they lived, and all of the different royal things that belong to them. Look at this fancy building. Now, what do you think a building like this could be used for? Can you believe that this was actually someone's house? Well, it's not just any house, it's a palace. This palace used to belong to a queen of France. Now, what do you think it's like inside? It must be nice if it were built for a queen. In fact, this palace has 440 rooms inside. As the leaders of their countries, kings and queens often had the biggest and best homes in the land, known as palaces or castles. As a leader, the queen or king rules a particular area of land and the people who live there. So a king and queen leads and makes decisions about a particular area of land and the people who live there. This area of land is called a kingdom. There used to be many, many kingdoms in the world. Today, however, there's not as many kingdoms or kings and queens as there used to be. Now tell me about this picture. Who do you think this person might be? It's good to be king. That's an old saying. And if you look at this king, whose name was King Richard II of England, you will begin to get the idea of why this saying holds true. If you walked into a palace in England hundreds of years ago and saw this person, you wouldn't have any trouble guessing he was a king. As the most important and powerful people in their kingdoms, kings and queens always got the best of everything. The best houses, the best clothing, the best food. Kings did not have to say please or thank you. They didn't even have to dress themselves. They had servants do that for them. So servants are the men and women who are hired and paid to take care of the king and queen, as well as their home and land. Pretty much everything a king or queen used, touched, or owned was called royal. And if something is royal, it belongs to a king and queen. The soft, fluffy robes King Richard II wore were the royal robes, and he drank from what is called a royal cup. And if it was royal, that meant that only the king, queen, or someone in the royal family, such as his daughter, the princess, or his son, the prince, was allowed to use it. King Richard II is holding two things in this picture. In one hand, the royal orb, and in the other, he is holding the royal scepter. So this right here is the royal orb, and this is the scepter. These were ceremonial objects or things that the king wore or held just to remind people who was in charge. Now that hat that he's wearing right up here is called a crown, which is no ordinary hat. Crowns were made out of some kind of precious metal, like gold or silver, and decorated with fancy jewels, like rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. These jewels were often called the crown jewels. Like the scepter and the orb, the crown was an important symbol of the king's power. A symbol is something that represents or stands for something else. When people saw the king's crown, they knew that the person who wore it was powerful and important. Here's a close-up picture of a crown. It's made of gold and loaded with fancy pearls and other jewels. A hat like this would not be good for keeping the sun out of your eyes, and it wouldn't be very good at keeping your head warm either. But if you were wearing it, it meant that you were a king or queen, the ruler of a kingdom. A few hundred years ago, it would have been nice to be a king or queen ruling your very own kingdom, making all the rules and laws that people had to follow. But it would also have been very difficult. Kings and queens had big responsibilities. Every day, people came to them, asked for money and advice. And every day, they had to make important decisions about things that were happening in the kingdom. A famous king named Charmeleon was so important that an artist made a stained glass window with his image. Look at his fancy chair. The king's chair was also called a throne. And, as you can imagine, only the king was allowed to sit there. His throne was raised up on a platform so he would appear tall and important, even when he was sitting down. So, what's that in his hand? Charlemagne is holding a sword and an orb to remind people that he is king. Over the next couple of weeks, you will learn about kingdoms, kings, and queens, and everything having to do with royalty. So now it's time for our comprehension questions. So question number 1, what is a king? Okay, a king is a ruler of a particular area of land and the people who live there. And it is a male, which means that he is a boy or a man. Now, what does the king do? Okay, a king makes all of the laws of the land and makes very important decisions. Now, question number 2 is, what is a queen? Okay, a queen is also a ruler of an area, and she also has to make very important decisions. All right, the next question, question number 3 is, what is a kingdom? A kingdom is an area ruled by or governed by a king or queen. So question number 4 is, what is a palace? A palace is a castle or a home that the king or queen lives in. All right, question number 5. Tell me about what you see in the pictures. Okay, in the pictures, I see a picture of a king and a queen, and they're both holding, the king is holding a sword and what was called an orb, and the queen is holding an orb and a scepter. They're both wearing crowns on their head, and they're both sitting on thrones. Okay, question number 6. Are there still kings and queens today? And the answer to that question is yes, there are still kings and queens today. Okay, now it's time to think, pair, and share. What do you think you would like about being a king or queen? What do you think you would like about being a king or queen? And what do you think you would dislike about being a king and queen? You can pause this video to give you time to come up with an answer to this question. I think I would like being a king or queen, living in the big house and having all of the jewels and money and people waiting on me. But at the same time, I don't think that I would like having to be responsible for making laws and people coming and asking me for stuff. I just don't think I would like that at all. All right, today your word work is royal. Everyone say royal. In the read aloud you heard, Pretty much everything that a king and queen used, touched, or owned was called royal. Say the word royal with me. Royal. Royal describes anything that belonged to a king or queen. The queen's jewels are her royal jewels because the jewels belong to the queen. Now tell about something else that might be royal and try to use the word royal when you tell about it. So what's the word we've been talking about? Royal. Good job. Okay, so now it's time for word work. Okay, what we're going to do for this is we're going to do like we do in class, and you're going to give a thumbs up if it is royal. You're going to give a thumbs down if it is not royal. Okay? Question number 1, the king's throne. Is the king's throne royal or not royal? Good job. You should have gave a thumbs up because the king's throne is royal. Question number 2, my sister's coat. My sister's coat. Good job. You should have gave a thumbs down because my sister's coat is definitely not royal. Question number 3, the queen's crown. Is that royal or not royal? You should have gave a thumbs up because the queen's crown is royal. Good job. What about the prince's dog? The prince's dog. Yes, you should have gave a thumbs up because the prince's dog is royal. Good job. And number 5, my cousin's necklace. You should have gave a thumbs down because my cousin's necklace is definitely not royal. Okay, so on a separate sheet of paper, you can pause this or you can do this later after the video, but I want you to include this in your packet. I want you to draw a picture of a king and a queen. And after you finish drawing the picture of the king and queen, I want you to write this sentence on the paper. You're going to write, a king has a blank, and you fill in the rest. A king has a blank. So after you draw the picture of the king and queen, you're going to write this sentence, a king has a blank. And you can pause this video so that you can write your sentence. All right, now it's time for multiple meaning words. Our multiple meaning word today is rules. Everyone say rules. Good job. So the first definition of rules is to lead or make decisions. And the word rules also means directions for how to do something. And that is the end of this PowerPoint. So, all right, now it's time for our worksheet for today. Okay, so everyone get out your lesson 1 worksheet out of your packet. And it is titled, What Are Kings and Queens? Okay, if you need to pause this while you find your worksheet, go ahead. Okay, we're going to move right along. All right, lesson 1, what are kings and queens? Kings and queens live in palaces. What do palaces look like? So we learned from our read aloud that a palace is a big home for a king or queen. And this is actually a palace right here. So you're going to draw a palace. And remember, just try your best. So I'm going to draw one kind of like is in this picture. We got to draw the little palace door. Draw the little roof. And the flags. Okay, and then after you draw your palace, you can color your picture. Okay, so down at the bottom, it says, a crown is a symbol for a ruler of a kingdom. If you could design a crown, what would it look like? So down here in this box, you're going to design your own crown. So my crown would probably look like this if I could design it. And then, of course, I would put big jewels on it. But you can design your crown any way that you would like. All right, good job. After you finish this paper, please make sure that you stick it in your packet to turn in for your attendance and for me to check and for Miss Crystal to check. Make sure that you like this video and don't forget to subscribe to this channel because we will be putting videos on here the whole time that we're virtual. And if you like this video and comment down in the comment section below with your initials, you will be entered in a drawing when we come back to school for a big prize. So exciting. We might even give away 2 prizes. We'll see, but it's going to be a good prize. So make sure that you like and comment down below. All right, thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.